All right, today we're jumping into a huge topic and a really important one that literally touches every part of our planet. We're going to explore what the research says about why wildlife is in decline all over the world, and we're going to zero in on what appears to be the single biggest reason why. Let's get right into it. So, you got to ask, right? What are we actually talking about here? Is this, a few species here and there, or is it something bigger? How bad is the problem, really? The source material uses this really powerful phrase for it, a silent emptying. Just think about that for a second. This isn't about one specific animal in some faraway place. No, we're seeing this broad, global drop in the populations of animals, birds, and fish. It's a huge shift in the natural world, and it's happening right now, all around us. So, what's causing all this? What's the driving force? Well, even though ecosystems are incredibly complex, the research keeps pointing back to one single, overarching idea that kind of connects it all. It's a concept they call the human footprint. Okay, so what in the world is the human footprint? Well, it's not just one specific thing. It's the whole shebang. It's the grand total, the sum of all our activities, and the combined pressure that we as a species put on the environment. To really get a handle on this big idea, we can break it down into three main pressures. It pretty much boils down to three things: the space we live in, the stuff we consume, and the waste we produce. Let's take a look at each one. First up, our space. This is maybe the most direct and easy to see impact we have, just the sheer physical area our civilization takes up on the planet. And this slide really lays it out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the planet's natural habitats, forests, wetlands, grasslands, and on the other, our world, our cities, our farms, our roads. It's pretty simple. As one side gets bigger, the other has to get smaller. This loss of habitat is a massive driver of wildlife decline. Okay, so it's not just about the land we build on. It's also about what we take from the planet to keep our societies running. And that brings us to the second core pressure, our consumption. The planet has all these amazing resources, right? Clean water, forest for timber, minerals. But our demand for them to power our industries, grow our food, and create energy is just immense. And the process of taking those resources, well, it fundamentally changes landscapes. It can redirect entire rivers, and it just disrupts that delicate balance that wildlife absolutely depends on. All right, so we've talked about the space we use and the resources we take out. That leaves the third and final piece of this footprint puzzle: what we leave behind. In other words, our waste. And here's where things get really interesting. Nature is basically the ultimate recycler. Everything works in these beautiful, biodegradable cycles. But a lot of our output, things like plastics flooding the oceans or emissions filling the air, they just don't fit into that natural system. And all that pollution creates an environment where it's just plain harder for wildlife to thrive. So when you put all these pieces together, the space we take up, the resources we consume, and the waste we produce, a really clear picture starts to form. And the research says it points to one unmistakable conclusion. Here's the bottom line, really. The central takeaway from all this is that the evidence shows a direct, straight line connecting the scale of our activity, our human footprint, to the decline we're seeing in wildlife across the globe. It's not a coincidence, it's a direct consequence. And that really leaves us with one last very powerful question to think about. We've seen how our expansion and our consumption create this massive footprint. So we have to ask ourselves, as our world keeps getting bigger, what's being left behind for everything else?